Hey, this is Justin McCullough with Capital One Spark Business. We're at the Small Business Festival, ready to talk to Emily. Emily, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
I would be happy to. Thank you very much for having me, for one. So my name is Emily Leach, and I founded the Freelance Conference here about 3 years ago. It was an interesting event that really caused this to happen. There was a small group that I created online of freelancers sharing work and things like that. I said, oh, how much fun would it be to go hang out with other freelancers? Because I've been a freelancer since '92. And I went to go find a freelance conference, and it didn't exist. Wow. And I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I even looked in other countries. I was willing to go anywhere to go to a freelance conference. And so I was like, okay, I've got 5 years of experience with TEDx. I've been a freelancer forever. How hard could this be? The answer is hard.
Oh yeah, how hard was
it? It's been a definite challenge. But I've learned so much. I've got to meet so many amazing freelancers.
Right.
It's like I thought I knew what freelancing was all about until I went through that process. I mean, a nonprofit has come out of it, all kinds of things that I would never have imagined 3 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So whenever you had that idea and you saw that there was nothing there to fill that need, like what were some of the steps you went through? Like how did you actually make that idea come to life?
I can be rather impetuous. I think naivety is probably my gift. And so I literally got onto a domain registrar, GoDaddy or whatever, and I just started looking for what would be a good name. So I put in Freelance Conference, and it was available. I said, what better name to call a freelance conference than Freelance Conference? Yeah. And so I bought it and sat there for a little bit and went, all right, so I guess I need a website. I'm a web designer, freelance web designer. All right, so let's do that. By midnight, I had a domain, I had a website, and I had an idea of when I wanted to have it. So I started looking through the calendar of events in Austin. So we have South by, and we have quite a few conferences that happen like the end of the year and the beginning of the year. So what are my gaps? And it's like, well, you either do it after South by, which meant May, June, for it all to settle down and stuff like that, or you do it maybe October, between summer and after ACL. So I picked October. So it's 90 days away from the day that I came up with this idea. So I picked a date, I put it on the website, hadn't even called a location yet. I said, this is just the date I'm going to have it. And just, plowed forward and started pushing out. And I was new in Austin. I've only lived here. I'd only lived here maybe a year or two. So people didn't really know me. I just started pushing out, hey, freelancers, let's get together. Let's do this as a conference.
That's right. Yeah. So it sounds like the beginning of an overnight success. I had an idea. I was able to get the domain name that night. I started building the website, and then within just a couple of months, I'm ready to do this event. Was it an overnight success?
In the conference world, a lot of people would say yes. Yeah. So your first year, the goal is to not completely lose it all. And it paid for itself. Put a little bit of pocket money in my pocket, but it also took 3 months of my time that I couldn't do client work and stuff. And so, yes-ish, it was a success in that we got 100 freelancers to come together. And I still hear stories of people talking about the gigs that they got at that event, the things that they learned, the lessons that they still implement in their business. So in that regard, absolutely it was a success.
Great.
And people were excited for the next year.
So I have to ask you, freelancers are often self-employed with just them, right?
Just themselves and more of themselves, yes.
So 90 days to get this business off the ground for other freelancers. You were a freelancer. How did you manage the cash flow? How did you manage the business? How did you manage the stress of like, oh my gosh, it takes so much?
Line of credit actually is, I was just willing, I believed in it so much that I was just willing to say, okay, I have this. I didn't really have savings and stuff at the time, and so I just dove in and gave it all and decided that the business could take on that debt. And I took on as much client work as I could, but you're right, especially the closer you got, that last 45 days, it was just impossible. You couldn't get that done because, again, people didn't know me yet. Yeah. So I didn't have the volunteer base. I did all of it up until about 3 or 4 weeks before the event. People started to reach out and say, hey, do you need volunteers? It's like, yeah, I could use a volunteer or two. And that's how we got the first year put on. And to me, this was the most exciting part, was after it all, you do your survey. And usually when you do a survey post-event, you get 10, 15% of the people respond. We had 55% of the people respond to the survey, and 97% of those people said, I will come back next year.
That's great.
So it's like, okay, I think I did something right.
That's great. So you have, so how many years in are you now?
This will be our third year.
Third year. So we're approaching the third year of the conference, and it's very clear that you were a freelancer, you saw a need for freelancers. So as an entrepreneur, you said, okay, there's a market for this. I understand this market. I want to serve this market. So now that you're 3 years in, or you're on your third, what have you learned about freelancers, and what do you want to share with the freelancers that are listening today?
Well, the premise of the freelance conference is to teach freelancers how to run their business better, more effectively, make more money, more efficiently. Most people are freelancers for the lifestyle. And so for me, what I loved so much about freelancing is it allowed me to be a stay-at-home single mom. It allowed me to kind of travel the world because all I needed was a laptop and internet, which is pretty easy to find. Well, the internet part, you have to take your own laptop, usually. But what I found so many freelancers talking about was, I don't understand how to invoice. I don't understand how to do my LLC, the business side of it. Yeah. And so I really wanted to have a space where freelancers could come and learn from each other. I've done an LLC, so you and I could sit and chat, right? But I haven't done maybe this marketing plan. But that's what you do, so let's sit and chat. I may even hire you. So we're very much a peer-based platform as far as the workers, if you will, in the freelance economy, and that's where I learn. That's where I see that they learn the most, and they kind of learn the best because I can trust you, and because so many of us work alone, we work from home. It's hard to find those people, your peeps, your tribe. Right. So I said, why don't we just pull everybody together, as many of us as we can, once a year at least. We'll start there and see where it goes, and spend a couple of days sharing stories and bringing answers to some of our really tough questions that people ask throughout the year.
That's great. So I can see the passion. I can see that you really love this.
Some people say it shows.
It completely shows. Yeah, and we're passionate about small business, so I totally know what it looks like, what it feels like. So I have a question for you. Let's imagine two different freelancers. One is the one that's just ready to take the venture out. Okay. They're just starting. And the other one is somebody maybe 3, 4, 5 years in. Okay. What would you tell each of those people to take that next step on their journey?
Hone your skills, hone your business skills. I have found that even freelancers 20 years in, I've taught classes even on how to be a freelancer, the business side, and I've even had people 20 years in say, oh my goodness, I learned more in the last 2 days than I've learned in the last 20 years. So no matter how far you are in, whether you're thinking about it, you're doing it, you've taken the jump, you're 5, 10, 20 years in, go and look at your efficiencies in your business or the lack thereof and find out where you can make more money using less time.
That's great, great. So you mentioned that you had plenty of experience previously with TED Talks.
TEDx, yes. Yeah.
So how about this for those in the audience who are exploring what conferences are? We're here at a wonderful conference now with a bunch of entrepreneurs and small business owners. Right. What would you tell folks who are trying to organize a conference or debating whether they should even invest in a conference? Why would they do that? Why should your freelancers come?
Well, you actually just answered your own question. You don't know it yet.
Tell me.
Why would you do that? Yeah. Really, really understand why would you do this? Because some people put on conferences not even really to make money at the conference as their loss leader, in a marketing term. And then some people do it totally to try to make money, but they don't really understand everything that's involved. So my first suggestion is if that's what you want to do, and you can answer why, you have a clear reason why, and it makes sense to you, from a business perspective, go find someone, happy to reach out to me, I'm happy to talk to you, and ask if you can shadow them or just go and understand what's really needed. So when I started the Small Business Festival, when I started the freelance conference, although I had all those years of experience, so we'd grown TEDx ABQ from 0 to a couple thousand people, I knew that there was still a lot that I didn't know. And that's the problem with everything. Freelancing, small business, you don't know what you don't know. And so what I did was I reached out to some other people that own their own conference and said, hey, what if we got together and created a mastermind? So we do. We get together twice a year, still, 3 years later, and we just sit down for 6 hours, a full day. What did you do? What did you do? What failed? What worked? I want to do this. Why do you want to do, all those kinds of questions. And it was actually unbelievable.
That's great. Yeah. So what I heard was really the importance of a tribe of people, right? Yep. And I heard you talking about how important it is to fulfill a need, right? And you saw the need with the conference, right, and to bring these people together and understand that they're all in different places. And a lot of times that's on the business side, right? The operation side, not in their craft.
Typically,
right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you have now had, what is this, over 20 years experience as a freelancer, right? Is that
20-ish,
right?
Yes.
20-ish? You said 96, I think, right?
92.
No, 90, okay.
That's all right.
So as we round out this last question, I'm just curious, what would you tell those aspiring entrepreneurs that you just know would really be helpful to them?
You can do it.
Great.
You can do it. Your tribe is out there, whether you come to the freelance conference, whether you find your own local tribe, whether it's a meetup, just go find the people that are doing it and let them guide you, let them lead you, let them inspire you if you're having a problem getting there, because you can do this. I mean, I didn't know what I was even doing. I literally quit my job on a Tuesday, lived in Albuquerque on a Saturday, learned freelancing, and it gave me a really great life.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
No problem.
I'm Justin McCullough, and this is Emily Leach, and this is Small Business Festival.